Do you hate using Google Maps? And you don't really like the way Waze works or some of the other mapping tools? In fact, you've got an iPhone and you really want to use Apple Maps, but you don't know how to get around on it, and you don't know about the best features or functions? Well, stick around. I got you covered. I'm Dylan Stewart, the Mac Whisperer. And in this video, we're going to talk all about the iOS 18 version of Apple Maps. There's a ton of new features and functions built right in, but make sure to stick around for my MacWhisperer Power Tip, where I give you a couple of Apple Maps tools that I'm sure you've never thought of before. Let's hop on over to the app and get started. When you first open up Apple Maps, you're going to see your surrounding area with this blue dot representing where you're currently located. You can use two fingers to pinch in and get a bird's eye view of the area, or to spread out in order to zoom in on a different area of the map. If you get yourself lost and turned around and you want to recenter back on your current location, all you have to do is click this little arrow icon in the upper right-hand corner and it'll jump you right back to your location just like that. There are several different views for us to explore inside the Maps app, and they all show up in this upper right-hand corner. Now, for me, it looks like a little car because of the map I'm currently on. For you, it might look different, but it's always right above that arrow. Let's click on it and check it out. There are four basic views here. The first one is called the Explorer view, and the Explorer view is for finding businesses and finding locations and looking around in a specific area. The driving view shows you traffic and helps you navigate and create a route to get where you want to go quickly. The transit map is for public transportation, allowing you to easily find your subway, your train, or your bus in order to get to where you want to go. And the satellite view is a beautiful view that gives you a highly detailed satellite image of your current location, making it easy for you to see what your city looks like without actually having to get in the car. Spreading out your fingers and zooming in will allow you to see an enormous amount of details on any given street. When you're using the satellite view and some of the other views, you can also turn on this 3D option that we see right here. When you turn on the 3D view, you can use two fingers to tilt your view into any angle, and you can also pivot your fingers in order to reorient yourself in any direction. If you don't like the 3D view, you can turn it off by clicking on the 2D button right here, which will return you to a standard overhead view. In addition to all of those views, there's one more view called Street View. And the way Street View works is get yourself into a specific area and then press the little binoculars you see in the lower left-hand corner. This will immediately give you a street-level view of that area. And you can use your finger in order to pivot around and search in that area, or you can tap anywhere on the screen to jump to that particular location in the Street View. When you're complete, click the Done button in the upper right-hand corner. You can use any view you like for your map, and anytime you want, you can click on the map icon up here and change it to a different view in case you're driving or need public transportation information. When you're inside of the Maps app, one of the most common things people do is search for locations. Let's click on the search area right here. When you do that, there's a ton of options that pop right up. First off, you've got the Recent section showing recent locations that you've searched for. You can click the More button in order to see more of those locations. You can also clear all the saved locations from here if you like. Down below that, we've got a section called Find Nearby. And Find Nearby makes it easy to find restaurants, gas stations, fast food, grocery stores, coffee shops, bars, parking, hotels, and more. This is an easy way to find a specific kind of a business. Looking for a good coffee shop? Simply click on Coffee Shops and it will show you all of the local coffee shops in your area. Coming back into the search panel, down below the Find Nearby section, you're going to find something called guides. There are tons of guides that are pre-made. We're going to talk all about them in just a moment, but any one of these guides will give you specific locations in that area, making it easy for you to explore a new town or discover a great new restaurant. We've also got our profile icon right to the right of the search bubble. Clicking on that will show you the library of locations that you've saved. Down below, we'll see all of the recently added locations. Down below Library, we've got something called Offline Maps. If you've ever been outside of cell service and couldn't find your way around, you know the pain of not having a map that's downloaded to your device. If it needs the internet and you don't have the internet, it's really easy to get lost. But it's simple to fix that by clicking on the Offline Maps section here and adding a specific location. I'm going to click Add, and we're going to add Santa Clarita. It shows me an area of how much of the map it's going to download. By using 2 fingers, you can pinch in and make it an even larger area if you like. The larger the area, the more space it's going to take up on your phone. This particular area is going to take up over a gig of space. When you click the download button, it will save that location directly onto your phone, and whenever you don't have internet, you'll still have this map available. Now that we've learned all about the different options, let's do a search. I'm going to click right into the search bubble here, and you can search in a number of different ways. If you're looking for a location from one of your contacts in your address book, simply start typing their name and it'll show right up. Or if you're looking for a specific business or location, simply type in the name of that business and choose from the list that pops up. In addition to that, you can do more general searches. For example, maybe I'm looking for a comic book shop. Typing in comic books will show me comic books nearby or some of the comic book locations that are in my area. When you do search for a particular location, there's a ton of information that shows up right inside the app. Let's go back to our comic book view here. And let's go into the Emerald Knights comics. You can pull this panel up to give you more space by tugging on that bar right here. And here we can see this is a 6-minute drive. I can call them or I can visit the website. If I click on the More button right here, I've got other options like adding this to guides, adding a note, adding a photo, or downloading the map. Scrolling down, I might see photos, ratings, and reviews from Yelp, or the store hours and its physical location. I can always pin any location at the bottom of the page in order to find it, but there's better ways to find locations than pinning them. We're going to talk about that in just a moment. Now let's talk about guides. There are 2 different kinds of guides. There are pre-configured, pre-created guides for you, which we'll talk about in a moment, and there are guides that you can create. To look at one of the pre-configured guides, come into your search panel and scroll down until you get into the Guides section. Here you'll find all sorts of options like exploring the winter wonderlands or the world's most magical flower shops. By clicking where it says Explore Guides, you'll get even more options. You'll notice that my guides are centered on Los Angeles because that's where I live. But if I scroll just a little bit down, I'll see all sorts of other cities that I can choose from. So the next time I'm going to take a trip to Phoenix, I can come in here and find the best Phoenix restaurants, or the best photo spots, or the best florists. By connecting into any one of these guides, it'll show all of the locations contained within that guide on your map at one time. Let's check out Phoenix's best photo spots. As soon as I click on it, it redirects my map to Phoenix, and you'll see all of these separate locations right here. If I spread my fingers out, I can find more details about these specific locations, and if I click on any one of them, it's going to show me all the information right below, including how long it's going to take to get there, their hours, and any other information that's contained for that specific site. Guides are extremely useful. One of the best examples for guides is when you're traveling somewhere. Rather than trying to find all of the locations that you want to go to, you can come into the guide section, find the city that you're traveling to, and locate a set of guides that are going to have the best restaurants, or the best romantic experiences, or the most fun dinners in America. Things like this will make it so easy for you to explore that new town without having to do a whole bunch of searches on Yelp or on Maps or ask your friends for their advice. Coming into any one of these guides, you'll see all of the specific locations that it shows, and you can scroll through them and find out about them. You can add any one of these locations to your library by pressing the plus button right here. That adds it right into your library, making it easy for you to find in the future. But if you really like the entire guide, click the Add to Library at the top of the Guides section, and that entire guide will be saved on your Apple Maps for you to access at any time, especially when you're in New Orleans and looking for some of the best restaurants. But pre-created guides aren't the best way to use the Guides function. You can create your own guide anytime you want. I'm a comic book fanatic and I want to find out where all the best comic books are in my area. I can come into my search and search for comic books. When I do that search, it shows me all sorts of locations. As I look through all of the different locations that were found, I'll see specific locations that would be perfect for a comic book guide. Let's tap on Emerald Knights right here, and I'm going to click on the More button to the right side. Here I've got the opportunity to add this to a guide. Let's click Add to Guide. We're going to create a new guide specifically for comic books. Let's click the New Guide button and click Create in the upper right-hand corner. Now we've added Emerald Knights, but there's other things that we should probably add to this same guide. Let's click the X button to clear that out and go back to our search. Collector's Paradise is another great comic book shop. Let's click on it, click the More button, add it to the guide, click on Comic Book Guides, and that's been added. As I add more and more of these comic books into the comic book store's guide, it makes it easy for me to find all of those comic book stores at one time just by going into the guide itself. Let me show you what I mean. I'm going to drop down into my library right here. I'm going to click where it says Guides. That's going to open up this section, and I'm going to open up the guides itself. Here are my comic book stores. Let's click on it. And it located all 4 of the comic book shops that I labeled right here. This can make it easy for me to go from one shop to the other in order to buy all of my favorite comic books. Guides are a great tool, but it's not just for stores. You can also use guides for other features. For example, maybe you want to keep track of all of your clients in a specific area. Or even better, keep track of all of your family members so you have one place to go to find the addresses for anyone in your family. And one of the best things about guides is that you can share them with other people. Simply swipe up on this panel, and down at the bottom, you've got the Edit button, which can allow you to remove or reorganize the guides, the plus button on the bottom right, which can allow you to add more locations into this guide, or the share button in the middle, which can allow you to send this guide to any other Apple user so that you can work together and find those locations together. When my family took a recent trip to New York, I created a guide for the entire family, allowing them to add all the places they wanted to go into one collection. The Empire States Building and the Kimberly Hotel and Top of the Rock and FAO Schwartz. By putting all of these things in one place and sharing this collection with everyone in my family, everyone could add their favorite locations, and then whenever we were traveling, we could look at this collection and find out where the next location was that was nearby to wherever we were. This made it so much fun and so easy to explore New York, and it's a great way to explore any town, even your own. Now let's talk about getting directions to a specific location. I'm going to come into my search, and I'm going to look for a hotel in Santa Monica. Let's do the Hotel Bel Air right there. It shows me where the hotel is, and down below I can click on the car icon, which takes me into this screen, the directions screen. Up at the top, it'll show all the different routes that we can take. You can see there's a 32-minute route, which is what it's selected, but there's also a 36-minute route and a 39-minute route. I can click on any of the time estimates to change to that route, just like that. By swiping up, you'll also find all of the routes showing up down here. This can allow you to manually choose which route you want to take based on distance or time. When you're getting directions to a specific business or location, you'll notice that it shows your location as the starting point. Sometimes you need to add a stop in before you get to that location. Let's say I need to stop at the ATM before we get to the hotel. Clicking on the Add Stop button will allow me to choose any location for me to stop at before the main destination. Let's type in ATM right here. Search nearby. I'm going to do this Chase Bank ATM right here by clicking the Add button. Now you'll notice it shows my location, the Hotel Bel Air, and the Chase Bank. By using the 3 lines on the far right side, I can press and hold and reorganize things to make sure I stop at the ATM before getting to the hotel. And if you decide that you don't need to make that stop, you can always delete it by swiping from the right side to the left, just like this, and pressing the Delete button. Across the top, we've got several different options of ways to get there. First, we've got driving directions, but maybe we want to walk. Clicking here will give us walking directions. That's a pretty long walk. Or we can click over here to get public transit directions. Or over here to get cycling directions. Down below, we can schedule that drive for now, or by clicking on the Now button, anytime in the near future. We can select exactly when we want to leave or exactly when we want to arrive. And based on current traffic, your phone will alert you when the time comes to get in the car so that you're not late. To the right over here, you can click the Avoid button to choose to avoid tolls or highways for that particular trip. And when you're ready to go, all you have to do is click the Go button and it will start giving you directions. There are several different ways you can view your route from this screen. By clicking where it says Start at the top, it will show you the exact directions step by step that you need to take to get there. To remove that screen, click the little arrow down at the bottom here. You can also click this icon to get a bird's eye view of the entire route. Doing that can also give you the opportunity to change your route at any time. Clicking back on this icon will show you the street level directions. Street level directions will change as you travel. And right below that icon, you'll find the speaker icon. This can allow you to choose whether you have directions read out to you or not. Clicking on that button gives you three options. At the top, you've got voice directions. In the middle, you've got only alerts. That means if there's a hazard or a road closure, it will speak up about that. And down below, you can mute the volume altogether in case you don't want to be told how to get there, you just want to look at the map. And by clicking down below, you can get additional options such as adding an additional stop, sharing your ETA with anyone you want to share it with, reporting an incident, or adjusting the voice volume. Clicking here will let you choose between softer, normal, and louder for the voice directions. When you're done with your directions, clicking on this little arrow here will allow you to click the End Route button, which will return you back to your map and your search. Sometimes you need to save a location that isn't an actual location. Maybe you want to have somebody meet you at a particular trail up in the mountains. By coming into that area, you can press and hold your finger down anywhere on your screen to drop a pin. When you drop a pin, you can then share that pin with anybody else. You can find an exact location, even if that location doesn't actually have a real address. Sure, we've got the latitude and longitude coordinates, but that's not going to make it easy for my mom to find me at that particular hiking trail. I can pin any location, and then by pressing the share button up here, I can send that location to anyone so that they can find me even when there isn't a specific address to locate me at. Now let's talk a little bit about Siri. Siri is very useful and very helpful with maps, with locations, and with directions. You can trigger Siri by using either of these two voice commands or by pressing and holding your side button. I always recommend that people get used to using the side button when they're first learning how to use Siri because it's a more efficient and effective way to use her. All you have to do is press and hold that button on the right side of your phone and keep holding it down while you give your request to Siri. And with maps, there's a lot of different ways you can do it. For example, I can say, "What time is Granville open until?"
Okay, here's what I found.
And it can immediately find me that specific location and their hours of operation. Or I can try something like this. "How long will it take to get to Joni Berkeley's house?"
Traffic to Joni Berkeley, home is moderate, so I'm estimating 35 minutes via I-405 South.
This is an easy way for you to immediately find out how much traffic there is or how long it's going to take for you to get to a specific destination. In addition to that, you can ask Siri for directions anywhere, just like this. "Directions to Disneyland."
Getting directions to Disneyland Park.
And it opens up the map, letting me choose my route and click go, and I'm on my way. And you can even find locations with Siri using what are called modifier commands. Maybe you don't know the exact restaurant you want to go to tonight, but you want a restaurant that's Italian, expensive, and nearby. By using modifiers such as find me the closest Italian restaurant, the best Italian restaurant, the cheapest Italian restaurant, or the most expensive Italian restaurant near me, it can find that location for you just like this. Find the closest gas station.
Which one?
Find the cheapest Mexican food restaurant near me.
Which one?
And just like that, by using these modifier commands, you can find a location without even touching the phone. Siri is extremely useful with maps, whether you're getting directions or finding a specific location or even finding out the hours of one of the businesses you're about to go to. So as you can see, Maps is just jam-packed with all sorts of features and functions and tools. Whether you're using it for public transportation or for driving directions, whether you're using it to create collections of all of your family members and where they live, or exploring a new town or your town, Maps is the way to go. So what do you think? Did you learn something new? Are you excited about using Apple Maps and all of the functions and features? If you got great value out of this video, give it a thumbs up. That makes it so much easier for other people to find it. And if you've got a question, a comment, or you just want to say, "Hi Dylan, I like your shirt," drop it down to the comments section. I absolutely love to hear from you guys. And if you haven't subscribed to my channel yet, Are you waiting for an Apple map to give you directions exactly how to do it? Here, let me help. Click the subscribe button and then the notify bell so you're always alerted whenever I drop new content. And with that being said, something I'm supposed to do here. What am I supposed to do here? I'm sorry, I got a little lost. Oh, it's time for the Power Tip. So now that we've explored our way all around the Maps app, you can see how many tools and functions it has, but there are two really powerful tools that are hidden underneath the surface. For the first one, let's say we're going to Disneyland. But here's the problem. I don't want to drive there. Their parking is really expensive. I'd rather take an Uber, except I don't actually want to leave the Maps app in order to go to the Uber app and order it. Can't I just do it from right here? Yes, you can, and it's really easy. We're going to click on the driving directions first. And you can by simply clicking on this button to the far right side here. That's the ride-sharing icon. And by clicking it, it connects to your Uber, your Lyft account, or other ride-sharing accounts and allows you to immediately order your Uber or your Lyft right from here, making it so easy for you to get to your destination without even having to leave the Maps app. But the next tip is even more powerful. You know, sometimes when you want to go to a restaurant, you show up at the door and there's a line of people waiting for a table. And the person says, "Do you have a reservation?" And you're like, "Didn't occur to me." But now, right from the Maps app, you can reserve a table. Come into the location that you're about to go to, and then over to the right here, you're going to see this little button. You can't even really see what it says underneath it, but it says reservations. Clicking right here will allow you to open either Yelp or OpenTable and make a reservation so that your entire dinner party doesn't have to wait behind all of those people who don't use Apple Maps. It's simple and easy to do, and a single click can get you a table for 2 or 4 for today or any day in the near future. So that's what we've got for today's video all about Apple Maps. But remember, there's always more to learn. Check out this video right here for more tips and tricks on how to use your Apple devices efficiently. I'm Dylan Stewart, the Mac Whisperer, and I will see you in the comments.